This guy Bell, he's a Mac user, and he was like, what Windows laptop is good? And I said the Acer Swift X. He literally scoffed. These Apple guys, they hear Acer. No, this thing's great, and I'm going to show you why. It also isn't great in some ways, but it's great, and I'm gonna tell you why. All right. Here we have a 100-watt power adapter, and that is being delivered over USB Type-C, which is awesome. I absolutely love that you can have everything from your headphones to your vape pen to your Xbox controller. All of them can be charged directly from this. Plug it in, hit the power button. Got it. Damn it. There we go. It's a laptop. It certainly looks like a laptop. There's not much design going on in the back there. This would be a really good candidate for a D-brand skin, because man, that's not a whole lot happening there. Overall though, we do have a solid selection of I/O. So on the right, we have micro SD and a full-size Type A. On the left, we have two Thunderbolt 4s, headphone microphone combo jack, another Type A, and HDMI 2.1. Looking around the back, one thing that is interesting is that there doesn't appear to be much for ventilation back here. It's just metal, and there's a tiny little vent on the bottom that might not be enough to cool the 4070 in here. Actually, no, it's not enough. I looked at the lab's results. The build quality does seem quite high. This is a stamped aluminum chassis, and it is really quite rigid. Overall though, first impressions are quite good. This trackpad takes up the full bottom here. It has their eco-friendly ocean glass. Either way, glass-topped touchpad. Like to see that. We've got the keyboard here, nice easy layout. And we've also got this segue to our sponsor.
Secretlab. You may know them for their best-in-class gaming chairs, but did you know Secretlab makes desks too? Their Magnus Pro isn't your average sit-to-stand desk either. It is packed with unique features. You can have the cleanest desk around with their patent-pending integrated power supply column and a full-length built-in cable management tray. And of course, the Magnus Pro is fully adjustable as a sit-to-stand desk with a sleek integrated control panel. Check out the Magnus Pro and all of Secretlab's offerings at the link down below.
All right, quickly, let's give this away. 3.4 pounds, that is pretty good. With our charger, that goes up to 4.2. Not too bad, especially given this has a 4070 in it. All right, let's have a look at the specs. In here we have an Intel Core Ultra 7 155H. That is 16 cores, 22 threads. We also have 32 gigabytes of memory running at 6,400 mega transfers per second. It does say remove chips, so we might not be able to upgrade it, which would be a big sad. We also have a 1 terabyte Samsung NVMe SSD, Wi-Fi 6E, and the star of the show, and the star of not the show actually, the NVIDIA RTX 4070. This thing is an excellent GPU that is very much held back by the fact that this only has an advertised 50 watts of power and a measured 60-ish. We actually saw 58, which is not enough for these. We will talk about the actual performance later, but 60 watts is not enough for a 4070, and you don't even have the in some laptops you can be like, yeah, just get the more expensive GPU, even if it doesn't have enough power, it has more VRAM. Nope, this is 8 gigabytes of GPU memory, so that's not really enough. Oh yeah, and there's an NPU. Acer and literally everyone has been talking about how AI, OMG, but this NPU isn't good enough for Copilot Plus, so that's too bad. Oh, what's immediately jumping out here though, this display looks fantastic. It is 2880 by 1800p, so 16 by 10 OLED and 120 hertz, and it looks flipping fantastic. In SDR, we measured it as just under 400 nits peak brightness, and the color accuracy is kind of all over the place depending on what profile you use, but for the most part it is staying under that delta E of 2, so you can definitely use this for professional color work. Also, when you put it into HDR mode, we measured just over 600 nits peak brightness, which is higher than their 500 nits advertised, but that was only at a 5% window. You're looking at more like 400 nits peak brightness for the full screen, but that said, those 600 nits in the little tiny windows will still be enough to give you a HDR experience when you're in a really dark room. This laptop is definitely aimed at being an all-arounder, so let's give the keyboard a little sniff. This keyboard is perfectly adequate. I was able to get up to full speed without any accuracy problems, but at the same time, I was not enjoying a second of it. The keys are very consistent, so from key to key, you can get used to it, but also the key stability definitely leaves something to be desired. Like if you look here, I can press on the corner. We're getting loads of flex right there. If you don't hit the key directly in the center, you're going to be slowing down for a second. It's borderline B-. That said though, the trackpad below it is great. As we said, it has that silly ocean glass on it, so it is glass topped. It is nice and large, and also I've had no trouble at all with the accuracy on it. That's a trackpad. Click feels pretty good too, but not like what you would find on something that's a bit pricier with the Force Touch trackpad. Oh, do you guys want to see an incredible feature that so many laptops lack right now? Oh yeah, there we go. Type A directly into the laptop, get on Dell. Oh, Lenovo has their new Yoga 7. It looked so beautiful. Only USB Type-C, not even a headphone jack, no Type A, complete write-off. Okay, Mac does get a bit of a pass because in my mind, full-size SD card reader and HDMI does make up for lack of a Type A. This thing's kind of loud. We are in normal mode, so we're not even in performance yet. Ooh, and in performance, it's even louder. All right, we are in Rocket League here, and I am currently getting 100 and... It's really all over the place, actually. I'm having some frame pacing issues for sure. We're currently screen recording. What about I stop screen recording? There we go. Minimums of 230 now, so I guess that this is not a super happy GPU when you are screen recording and gaming at the same time. I was expecting a little bit better, which kind of is just everything about the GPU in this. I was expecting a little bit better. I really feel like that they could have had quite a bit more cooling back here, and then we would have been quite a bit more positive about this. It does really seem like this chassis was designed around a 4050, which has that 50 watt TDP, and you are not getting everything out of a 4060 or a 4070. Our lab compared this to a 4060 in the Asus G14, which in fairness is a gaming laptop, does have quite a bit more power, but the 4060 in that absolutely walked all over the 4070 that we have in our Acer right here. So just do not buy the 4070 version of this laptop. You are not getting a 4070, you are getting, at best, just a very expensive 4060. The worst part of all of this is that their configs kind of suck. So if you need 32 gigabytes of RAM, like maybe you're a video editor or a photo editor, and you just want a GPU, even though you don't really need all of that performance, you need to get one of the higher end GPUs to get the RAM that you will need. This is really too bad because the 4050 in this, I think would be perfect. You can do almost everything. It's nice, it's pretty light, screen's amazing, but it is really, really throttled once you've put those higher end GPUs into it. That said though, for gaming, I am having a really great time on this. That 120 hertz display plus the OLED, we measured as having nearly perfect latency. All right, let's test the speakers. I do not have high hopes. Everything from Acer that I have tested in the last couple of years has frankly sucked ass. You guys really need to improve your speakers. Okay, that's better than I expected, although still not great. It's kind of harsh. Kind of just bad sounding, if I'm honest. Oh! There are different spatial audio modes in this, and traditional just sounds way better than... Ugh! So we have games and oh! Wow, just turn that off. Sounds okay in the normal just stereo mode. When you have the spatial stuff on, it sounds like butt. It does sound wider, but it sounds like butt. Oh, we do have some down-firing speakers on the side, so let's just verify that we don't get it better. Nah, it still kind of sucks. Acer, you genuinely need to have a big think and go and improve your speakers. They are a massive low light on all of your laptops at the moment. All right, let's look at the webcam. This thing is 1080p and it is awful. I am completely blown out and also very red looking. Moving over here, I am still very red looking and kind of underexposed and blown out at the same time. Moving over here, yeah, it's incredibly noisy. and blown out and underexposed at the same time. Oh, it's genuinely terrible. This is a tier of webcam that I have not seen on a laptop in a while. This thing sucks. Oh, look at that. We also do not get Windows Hello facial recognition, but we do have a fingerprint sensor right over here, which is a nice little addition. The battery itself is 76 watt hours, and it was able to last in our endurance test for 7 hours and 37 minutes, which is really quite good given the power of this thing and also the fact that it has an OLED display. Now, looking in here, first of all, no upgradable RAM. It is just soldered down. We can see the chips right there, which is very, very sad because, as I said before, this would be a much better laptop if you're able to combine the 4050 with 32 gigabytes of RAM, because you're not getting much more than 4050 performance anyway, and we can very easily see why right here. This is a very anemic cooler. We have two little heat pipes that go down here for the CPU and the GPU, which explains why our CPU was at 102 degrees while we were playing Rocket League, and it's just not enough. We need more cooling in this if you want to put a 4070 in this Acer. It's just not acceptable for this class of GPU. Also in here, we do have upgradable SSD and an upgradable Wi-Fi card, which I do really like to see because maybe 60 is pretty good right now. Maybe you want Wi-Fi 8 in the future or something like that. You can just chuck it in right there and it probably will work. I was going to go grab a double-sided SSD, but I don't even have to. There is so much room underneath this SSD that you're going to have no trouble at all putting a double-sided SSD in right there. Overall, the Acer Swift X14 I do think is a really good laptop, even if it is flawed in some ways. I do really wish that it had a bit more cooling, and that would mean that you could have more than the 4050 in this, but that said, if you want to get the 4050 model, which you probably should, it's going to start at $1,400. The one that we have spec'd here is more like $1,700, which I don't think is a good buy because you are not getting value out of that 4070. That said, you do get a decent keyboard, great trackpad, it's nice and light, and that OLED screen is freaking fantastic. So if you're looking for something that can just cover all of your bases, if you want to do video editing, photo editing, gaming, professional work, office stuff, it can do all of it incredibly competently. And in particular, the lowest of the lowest end model, which doesn't get the OLED screen and only a 3050, that thing's on sale for $800 right now, and that sounds absolutely fantastic. There you go. If you want a MacBook Pro but do not have MacBook Pro money, I do not think that the Acer Swift X14 is something to scoff at. Bell?